Hey everyone, welcome to this third session of the bookmark special series wherein we are exploring different fragments and creating bookmarks using fragments. Yes, fragments is a very important concept as far as Zentangle is concerned, and fragments, as I explained to you in the previous sessions, are capable of forming patterns within themselves just by varying the grid in which you put them. Yeah, that is the reticula. So let's get started with today's session. Today again we'll draw a different fragment. I will be again using a square grid, but I am going to draw it a little differently. Yes, the lines are going to be slanting, but ultimately we are going to be forming squares. So you can either start straight with your pen, or if you are not confident enough, you can start with your pencil. I'm drawing some slanting lines here like these, and then I'm going to again draw the next set of lines, creating a square grid, but when you hold the bookmark straight, they will look like diamonds just because I'm creating it out of slanting lines like this. Yes, so let's first go ahead and ink our grid before we insert any fragment. So I'm using my Micron PN, which is a little bolder nib compared to O1 because my paper is thick watercolor paper. It has a lot of grain, so I'm using a bolder nib. Yes, and then the second set of lines, creating the grid. Like this. Yeah, so let's get started with today's fragment. So before I go ahead and insert my fragment in each of these sections, what I'm going to do is insert an orb inside each of these squares as big as I can, like this. Yes, so let's go ahead and do this exercise. Insert an orb inside each of these diamonds or squares as big as we can. Slowly go to each. Take your time. Yes. So this is a little different grid. We are still working on the grid. We have not started with our fragment yet. Take your time and slowly do this exercise for all these sections that you created. Yeah. So I'm done with that exercise. Now I'm going to go ahead and draw the tangle muka. So I'm going to draw 4 of them like this. Keep rotating. Draw in such a fashion that you are able to insert 4 of them. This fragment is fragment B25. Yes, there are various ways in which you can draw this. I choose to draw it in this fashion. You can also draw thin muka lines there. the way muka is generally drawn. I am giving it a little fat stomach, and since the shape is different for different orbs, this one has 5 of them, so that's okay. Yeah, no issues at all. Again, take your time. So I am going to slowly go to each and do this same exercise. Probably some hidden there. Yes, we shall see them later. Let's first insert inside the complete orbs. I think we are going to accommodate 5 easily, or if you want to draw big ones, you can add 4. Slowly take your time and do this exercise. Yes. I'm going to slowly add these beautiful mukas inside each of these orbs in the same way. You take your own time. Yeah, I'm still continuing in the same fashion, adding mukas inside these orbs. So I am done with adding my mukas inside each of these orbs. The next exercise that I am going to be doing is go ahead and ink the in-between spaces in each of these orbs. Not this space, but the space between the muka and the outer orb, because it will add to the look of the fragment. So slowly go to each of these tiny spaces in between and add that touch of ink. Yes. Take your time. Switch to a finer nib if required. Spaces are small. So you can see how the fragment kind of pops up when you add that small bit of ink between the orb and your muka, like this. Yes. So slowly I'm going to do this exercise. You take your own time, no hurry. Go to each and add that touch of ink wherever there are empty spaces or intersectices. like this. Yeah. So I'm almost done filling up the small little tiny spaces in between my mukas, and this is how it looks like when you add that small touch of ink in between. Yes, I think we have added wherever required. Now we have two kind of spaces left. So these spaces, yes, and then the space inside. Now it is up to us how do we want to do, or what do we want to do there. So I'm again switching to a finer nib, and this space I'm just filling up with auras. So don't bother about unequal number of lines because spaces are different in different cases. So as many auras as you can add. Yes, that's what I'm doing here. Adding as many as I can using a finer nib since spaces are small, like this. Take your time. Some spaces left there, so just fill it in like this. Yes, just take your time. Tiny spaces, go slow. Again, some bit of inking left here and there. You can just complete that as you add these lines. Yes. So I'm going to go to each of these spaces and do this exercise slowly, patiently, no hurry, like this. So somewhere we are adding 2 lines, somewhere we are adding 3 lines. That's okay, not an issue. Just fill up that space in between with auras. Like this. Yeah. So I'm done with adding those auras in the in-between spaces. Now the last space that is left is this space. Let us use our some kind of a color inside there, or let us first insert tiny tipples inside and then we can add color. Yes. So this may take a little bit of time. You can also add bigger tipple, but I wish to add tiny tipples inside. You can also add something else inside, for example, aura the inside space, even that is possible. But I feel like adding these tiny tipples inside, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. Yes. So you have to be patient, and after adding tipple probably we can add color either with the color pencil or brush pen. Small little tipples there, like this. Yes, so let's do this exercise throughout at your own pace. Take your time. This will take a little while. I'm sure the bookmark will look beautiful. Small tiny tipples. As I mentioned, you can also aura the inside space, or you can add bigger tipples, whichever way you like it. If you don't want to add anything inside, you can just simply color the inner space. Yeah, even that is possible. So I'm going to be continuing like this. I have given you a few options on how to go about filling up the inside space. Pick your own. I'll see you in a jiffy. So I'm almost done with that exercise. Adding orbs in the in-between space. After adding the orbs, I actually feel there is no point adding color on the orbs. It would be better to add a dash of color on the mukas. Yes? It's your choice. How do you want to go about? Small tiny tipples closely packed with each other. And the last few. Yeah. So now let us pick up our color pencil and add little bit of color on the mukas. So I have picked up a nice and bright shade, and now I'm going to just touch my mukas a little with this. Yes, not the complete thing, just a touch of pink at the bottom of the muka and leaving the rest as is. Like this. Yeah, I hope you can see it clearly. Yeah. So it's just a touch of color at the bottom of the shape, and the rest of the muka remains white. Just like a shade, like this. Do it at your own pace. Tiny little mukas, you will have to go to each. Like this. Yes? So let's do that for all slowly. Take your time. Make sure your pencil is sharp enough. We are not completely covering up the muka, just at the bottom. A dash of shade, and the rest remains white. There is no need for blending as such, but if you want, you can always use your blender's pencil. Just make sure you leave the remaining portion white, as this is adding a beautiful contrast. I think there are some lines missing here. One tipple here and some lines missing here, like this. Yeah. So I'm almost finishing adding the pink, just left with a few more sections. Take your time. Slowly. Just using my pencil like you use for enthatching. Make sure it's sharp enough. And we are almost done. Yeah. Yes, so that's the fragment. Now one last thing that we can do, if you have your gray brush pen handy, or you can use your graphite pencil, but since the spaces are small, I'm just going to use my gray brush pen and add a little bit of shadow inside here, as if I'm shading with my graphite pencil. Yes, so this is going to add a little more dimension to the inner space. So you have to be really careful. Just use the tip of the brush pen and add a slight thin inner aura, just like shading. You can also do this with your graphite pencil, but since spaces are very tiny, you may not be able to blend it without keeping a center patch white, and that's why I'm using my brush pen to do that activity here. Yes, so move ahead systematically so that you don't miss any. Slowly, patiently go to each like this. Yeah, and we are done. Yes, that's it. That's the fragment for today. If one more thing, if you wish to do, you can do is to add a little bit of highlight in the center, but that's again optional. If you want to use your chalk pencil, you can give a slight touch of chalk here. Yes, but these things are again optional. They are already white in the center, and it will show only if it is white. Yes, so if you have made the entire thing gray, there is no use much of using the chalk. So since mine are a little white, I'm just using my chalk to highlight a little more. But as I mentioned, you can omit this step if you wish to. Yes, so that's it. Small little things if you wish to. Adding a slight dot there to enhance the look. And that's it. I don't think we need anything else. That's it. That's our bookmark for today. I'm going to close the session here, and we are going to meet again in the next session with another new fragment. Till then, have a good time. Bye bye.